Yeah, and it kicks off a bit at the end. But I
think that was one of them things where someone just
yeah,
played something whilst we were, messing around with it, and because that was very much like I had like a song that worked on an acoustic or whatever, and then this sort of outro thing was like tagged on the end. But it was like one of them things where someone plays like this. It's like, oh yeah, that's it. Do that again.
I think we should hear it. This is it. Dance Little Liar, Arctic Monkeys. You're listening to Exposure. It is XFM. I'm John Kennedy, and that is Arctic Monkeys with Pretty Visitors, track 9 from the brand new album Humbug, which has been getting the Exposure album playback treatment tonight with Alex and Matt from the band, talking us through it track by track, and that's definitely one of my highlights. I mean, we've had Crying Lightning as a single. What are the other single suggestions? Do you think you'll have other singles from this record?
I think so. Yeah, we'll have other singles. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be yet, actually.
But I mean, there's all sorts in Pretty Visitors.
Yeah, remember the demo of that tune when I played it to someone who was already food poisoned, but it did make them vomit. The sort of the drum bit in the middle of that. It's and it sometimes makes me feel a little bit sick as well. But only like the kind of sick when you've had too many cups of coffee. That's what it does to me. I'm a bit like, and then I'm like not gonna throw. And I imagine it makes you feel pretty sick playing it, but a different kind of sick.
Yeah, like sick.
It's great. I mean, Black Sabbath seems to have been a band that have been referencing quite a few of the interviews by either other people or yourselves. Yeah. And Jamie's in a few photographs sporting a nice Black Sabbath t-shirt.
Yeah, we're sort of listening to Sabbath pretty much every day.
Just
days.
What, these days in general?
Before gigs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
you got particular era, particular songs that you got to hear? NIB?
Yeah, I do that. I was going to say that, actually. I do like that one. Children of the Grave's been getting quite a lot of time on there. Yeah.
But some other heavy groups which have been referenced, like Cream or Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Yeah.
They were all...
A lot of that, like, revisited sort of Hendrix and got a bit deeper with him than the sort of, your automatic kind of Hendrix listening that you do when you pick up a guitar. But yeah, I got into like the Band of Gypsies record and Axis a little bit more. A tune Spanish Castle Magic has been on rotation quite a bit.
And in Pretty Visitors, who plays the keyboards on this song?
That's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Because there's a kind of 60s garagey type thing that...
Yeah, it's on a Jaguar, Vox Jaguar.
Right.
But yeah, I don't, because I used to play keys on that one live in Australia. I'd do like a side-on keyboard, but I think we had to get rid of that. I didn't have enough room for the kicks.
Yeah.
Right.
So crawl under it.
So but yeah, I used to crawl under it, which I missed that.
Yeah, you should just probably put something else there, like a horse, not a real horse,
like a gymnastic horse.
Yeah.
I'm crawl under that. I could use that in so many ways.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's versatile.
So is Pretty Visitors going to be in the set for Reading and Leeds?
Yeah,
so, yeah.
We've been opening with it at the gigs we've just been doing. Oh well, actually no, we changed that actually.
But yeah, we were
quite often
with it for a while.
Quite often opening with it, yeah. It's quite a good first impression.
So that's one thing. Like on this, there's like a slide guitar on a few tunes, which kind of sort of goes hand in hand with the sound. But that's something that I'd never like. Both Josh and Alan were really like encouraging in the guitar department, and like slide had sort of like solos even were always a bit like we were a bit reluctant like approaching them, but certainly slide I thought of that, but then I'm like love it now. My favourite. I'm not that hot at it, but
so I mean Jamie must have been in his element if he's recording an album with one of his all-time guitar heroes.
Yeah.
No, who did they swap tips? Do they?
Certainly,
no.
You encouraged. Definitely.
Yeah, we got like kind of sworn to secrecy on a few.
Tradesman's tricks.
Yeah.
Tricks of the trade. Fascinating. I love that idea. So Pretty Visitors, track 9. The Jeweller's Hands is the last song on the record. Is it the longest song on the album?
I think it is, John, yeah.
And it's, I read in one piece that this is the furthest out you've ever gone. Well, that was a quote from you, Alex.
Yeah.
That you felt that this was the furthest out you'd ever gone.
That was it, like, and also like the sort of the most time we'd ever like spent on one thing. Like we were sort of exclusively just working on that for like 4 or 5 days, and yeah, well, that was like unheard of in like sessions before. It was always sort of do it, set it up pretty live, and we'll record it now and play it out tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of. It was the first tune I'd written, not without a guitar as well. Like wrote it on a piano, which is, I think that kind of leads you to draw different conclusions, obviously, than this sort of shapes you do with your left hand on the guitar. Something I'd like to get into perhaps a bit more in the future, but yeah, I think it always seemed like the end of the record, you know. And I think I might have mentioned before, but we almost after that, it was about trying to do the rest of it in order to get to that sort of point at the end.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, sometimes for some people, you know, they might get a song and think, right, that's always going to be the album opener or something like that. And I guess with your first album, in a way, those songs kind of map themselves out in a natural
in the lyrics,
shape anyway, didn't they? And but this time around, The Jeweller's Hands, you got that, and it felt like that's how we're going to end it. How do we fill in the rest?
That's right. Yeah, so it was kind of plugging the gaps a little bit, but you know, yeah, we haven't played that one in the show yet, but we will. Yeah.
And what's it about, The Jeweller's Hands?
There's this other tune called Catapult that didn't end up on there, and it's relative. I suppose it's correlative. It's like they were about like the same. I tried to do so much with like characters this time, and then I think there's a bit more personal stuff in the tunes, and perhaps that's because there's like some kind of veil or there's a bit more, you know, it's not as I don't know, perhaps I just found it easier, the style of writing was easier to sort of put more into it, but more sort of personal stuff into it, but yeah, with the Jeweller's Hands and this tune Catapult was one of the only ones that did kind of have this central character, like this sort of, you know, figure of wisdom, and that was sort of superior to his peers or you know, anyone he kind of encountered, and I guess that was kind of, you know, possibly like extensions of people that's met.
Yeah.
Or where those extensions all met, at least. Yeah, you know, and that's what those two tunes where we left like Catapult off in the end, just because like there was something about these 10 where they all kind of fitted together.
And in this song, you say something about if I've got a lesson to learn, I'm listening, ready to learn, or something like that. And do you feel in a way with Humbug, with this album, with the whole change of environment to go and record it, that's an approach that the whole band had for the record?
I think that was one of the only, like, that kind of outro on that tune was probably like some of the only lyrics that actually were written like whilst we were out there, and it was just sort of like, because that whole section was like tagged on, like the song sort of had ended before after the second chorus, but then we sort of wanted to have this like wig out, and so that like little, I suppose that did perhaps reflect how we're feeling like out there, that little arcane passage to there.
Well, I'm glad you did. I think it sounds really good, and it's definitely an album that reaps reward with continued play, I think, which is really good. I think you're surprising. You're going to surprise a few people with this record. So thanks so much for coming in and talking us through it track by track. Great to see you again. And this is the last tonight from Arctic Monkeys. It is The Jeweller's Hands on Exposure, XFM.